Hello, my name is Macmill. I am here to educate you on an individual most people actually never heard of. A street legend who deserves recognition and also the respect, just like giving those to the NBA stars of today and previous. He was and is the greatest basketball player of all time, in my opinion. He never wore an authentic NBA jersey, let alone he's never stepped into NBA court, but he was just never given a chance. The names legendary athletes after him overshadow his greatness because people all over the world have never heard of him. He was the first of many generations who were able to perfect the craft of basketball. He was said to even be better than Michael Jordan. Few people say that, but a lot of people say that he was better than Michael Jordan. But few mistakes here and there have caused him a chance of proving so. So we will never ever know. He was named Earl the Goat Manigault. This guy was able to do what most people thought it was impossible back then, and even today. He was the first one to be known to fly. He was 6'2". He had a 52-inch vertical, which is 4 feet and 3 inches off the ground. In order for him to have obtained such ability, he always wore ankle braces, no matter where he went, or ankle weights, excuse me, no matter where he went. Whether he was playing basketball, while he was playing basketball, working out, going to work, just doing everything, everywhere he went, everything he did, he always had ankle weights on, excuse me. He also practiced a lot because his mom was always at work. As he grew up, he was given the opportunity to play future NBA stars in the street ball tournaments. Some which were Connie Hawkins, Earl Monroe, and also the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He attended Benjamin Franklin High School, and it was there where he had set the record high of points for 57 points. Although it seemed like he was set to the direction of success, his life had began to go downhill his senior year of high school, where he was expelled from Benjamin Franklin High School for actually being caught smoking marijuana inside the locker room. He then transferred to Landenberg Institute. He was scouted by numerous colleges, but due to his grades, he settled for Johnson C. Smith University in 1965, which also was known as historically known as being a black college, because he thought he would have a better chance to coast through his use of his ability versus his grades. But due to his grades and his attitude, he was barely given playing time, or towards the coach, he was barely given the playing time, so he had decided to leave the college, barely lasting a semester. He left college to go back to New York City, where his life continued to come to a spiraling downfall, where he gained an addiction to heroin. As a result, he ended up serving 1 year for drug possession in 1969. Upon his release, he was still addicted to heroin, but only this time he was incapable of buying some. So he was arrested again for attempted robbery in order to buy more heroin. He went to prison again to serve 2 more years. Once he was released again, he instantly fled his 2 children to his hometown in Charleston, South Carolina, to keep his children from making the same mistakes he did. With all the mistakes he has made, or with all the mistakes he's gone through, he was still given a chance to try out for the Utah Stars, and it's an ABA professional team. But because of his previous addiction to heroin, his basketball abilities, which he had worked so hard for, had been destroyed. All of his mistakes had given him motivation to, actually inspired him to create a walk away from drugs program, which is for children in Rucker Park in New York. He would host basketball tournaments for children of all ages to prevent them falling into the same temptations that he had in the streets. In around 1980s, he had 2 operations, and by 1998, he died from congestive heart failure. As a tribute to his life, a movie was made for him called The Rebound, which is explaining his life stories. The story of his life. with all the basketball players he had played, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which was one of the very few who had made it successfully in the NBA, and was the first to say, he was the first one to say that the GOAT may have been the best player of all time that he's ever played, even upon retirement. Earl, the GOAT Manigault, had to have been great if he was still acknowledged as being the greatest of all time after all the years he's passed away or has been gone. He was still acknowledged one of the greatest. It just goes to show that every person is given the ability and the opportunity to make the greater to its fullest potential, and all of that disappears when you just make one wrong decision that will ruin everything you have worked so hard for. Thank you.